Hello, my name is Crusader1089 and you're listening to me once again through a terrible quality microphone. I'm sorry about that. I am getting a new one. I know exactly which one I want. It's coming after Christmas, but right now I have this microphone. So, as you can see behind me, there is a speed run going on. This is a speed run of the latest Jayden Crusader page. Jayden Crusader is the webcomic that I make very slowly. Um, we won't really talk much about the art until I get bored of it, and we're just going to keep going through. This was the first Jayden Crusader page that I streamed entirely on my Twitch channel. I'll put a link to that in the video description. If you want to come and watch me on Twitch drawing in real time, you're more than welcome to. You can interact with me in the chat. If you have any problems drawing in Photoshop, I can give you a hand. Drawing itself, I might not be so great at helping you with, but I am willing to offer any advice that I can. Otherwise, I will be just drawing and talking and having a pretty good time on my own. But if you guys come along, that'd be great. I will be streaming tonight because it's the Christmas special going on this evening. And if any of you would like to come and join me, that would be great. If you don't want to join me today because, it's Christmas Eve, you've got other things on, don't worry. Just head over to the Twitch channel, give that a follow, and you'll get a message whenever I start streaming. You can also watch all of my old streams up there as well. Not sure if I'm going to be streaming video games. There are a sufficient number of people doing that, I think, but I might in the future. I mean, there's no harm in it, is there? You can also read Jayden and Crusader. I'm going to put a link to that down in the video description as well. It's a webcomic I've been doing for close to 10 years now. I think it's really funny. You may not, but it's always fun to read and hear comments on. So yeah, if you want to read that more, it's now a Tumblr-based comic. So if you've got Tumblr, you can just follow it and get updates straight to your Tumblr feed. And hopefully that will mean that it's a lot easier to keep track of when I update, because I know a lot of people, one of the big problems was that they would lose interest while I wasn't updating and then never come back. So give me a follow on that and you'll get the latest Jayden Crusader in your Tumblr feed whenever that happens. And I have recently gone to a Comic-Con. It was not my first Comic-Con, it was my second Comic-Con. And in both of them, I have been a trade holder. I have my own stand selling my own products. Interestingly enough, they are not the products you are seeing me create right now. I don't have any print copies of Jayden Crusader. I am a writer primarily, although I do enjoy art. I have a book, which I will put a link to in the video description, called Curse of the Purple Pearl, a Darby and Delaron time travel mystery. It's a mix of Sherlock Holmes and Doctor Who, and I think it's really great. I wrote it, but it's been getting some pretty good reviews as well. If you're an Amazon Prime customer, it's free. You can just download it straight to your Kindle on Amazon Prime. Or if you have your £1.99 or $1.99, send it my way, please, and get a great book out of it. It's got some really nice reviews. And if you are one of the people who likes hard copies, I do sell hard copies personally through my Facebook page. Just Google Adrian Speed, the author, Facebook. I'll come up and you can order a book through that. I also do a webcomic called Privateer. That's a science fiction comic. You can't read it online. I sell it only through my Facebook page and through my trade stands. Working on the website, that'll come out at some point. I really hope you do go and check some of those out, because those are the only ways I really make money. I do have a Patreon page for Jayden Crusader, but that's because Jayden Crusader is a side hobby, and any amount of time that I spend on Jayden Crusader is time that I'm not spending on books, which is how I can primarily sell to people a product. Jayden Crusader is not really a product I can sell to people, not least of which it's very strange, but also because it comes in an update schedule that doesn't really facilitate purchasing. It's really more of a paying me for my time basis, and Patreon is great for that. Patreon is best at paying people for their time, at least in my opinion. And so yeah, if you do for some reason love Jayden Crusader as much as I do, head over to the Patreon. You can say $1 a page. That would really help me out. If you don't want to do any of this, I don't care. I'm just going to keep talking and I'm going to keep making stuff. and somehow eventually I will make money anyway. Oh wow, boy, we are only halfway through this video and I'm already beginning to run out of things to say, possibly just because I'm speaking fast and my energy is up. But I'll talk a little bit about the production of this. So my computer has this weird problem that if I try and do multi-core operations, it gets upset and shuts down. So I couldn't use Adobe Premiere on my main desktop. My laptop doesn't have Adobe Premiere on it. I don't have the Creative Cloud, so I was just kind of screwed. I ended up using, of all things, Blender, the CGI program, to render this video. Wouldn't recommend it. Very, very slow, but at least it is a free video editor, because so many of these others, they claim to be free and they're not. They are just cheap, or they are free and then they render it with a watermark. But yeah, these sort of speedruns allow me to show off some of the things that I do that you really can't see. For example, the detail on the gift indemnity certificate. Once you zoom out from that, you really can't see what's going on. It's just a smudge on a piece of paper. But I do put a lot of effort into those little details you can't see. This stage of comic production is the most boring and time-consuming and least interesting to look at. It's color correction, where I go around and I fill up the little edges of color that weren't got by the fill tool. Any of you who follow my tutorials will know about that as a necessary stage of coloring. Since I did my tutorials, I've been doing these things for years now. My first tutorial went up in 2008. The last one went up in 2013, I think it was, or possibly 2014. Photoshop has changed so much. I'm still using Photoshop 5. I don't have the Creative Cloud, as I said. Don't see any need to upgrade at the moment. But the first tutorials I did were going all the way back to Photoshop 7, not CS7. CS7 doesn't exist. Photoshop 7, released in something like 2001. That's how long I've been in this game. You'd think I would have improved more. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha, self-deprecation. But yeah, the way Photoshop it works now is so much more user-friendly than it used to be. There's still some features I miss. I miss being able to have windows pop out and pop in like Photoshop 7 did very easily. And that was because in those days, screen real estate was really at a premium, whereas nowadays almost everyone has a fairly large screen because large screens have become cheaper. So filling up the real estate of the screen with windows is what a lot of people prefer. And you can still do the pop in, pop out thing. It's just not as convenient as it used to be. It's not a feature of the program. It's just a thing the program can do. You can see we've now moved on to shading of the image. Shading is what really helps comics pop. I think if you are doing a webcomic, you need really to have it shaded or just keep it black and white. Black and white comics can be pretty effective. They are a lot faster, but without shading, color is not as impressive as you think it is. Some comics do okay with flat shading, but flat colors. But I really think if you are coloring, you need to do a bit of shading. I like cel shading. Doing airbrush shading is pretty interesting as well. I'm just no good at it. Every time I sit down and try and do it, I'm pretty awful. But you can put a lot more detail into shading than you can with flat color, and you can build on your base artwork. You can build off the ink instead of just having it sit there. One thing that was very annoying while streaming is I actually crashed, and one of the things I learned while I was doing this is if I'm streaming, I can't really play music on the stream because some combination of Photoshop and Firefox and the streaming software, if one of them is playing music, it just causes a crash. So won't be playing music on the stream. But then again, I've read some articles that say you shouldn't really play music on the stream anyway. You can just share a playlist with people to get a similar effect. And I think personally, I would advise you to listen to music while I stream because I'm not always talking. But at the same time, I won't be playing it in, and I think that will provide a better experience for everybody. And it will probably mean that I can upload streams anyway. As you can see here, I'm putting up pre-rendered backgrounds. That's a lot easier for me and just stops people floating in space. I'm beginning to come to the end now. I'll put up a splash page at the end reminding you of my Facebook, my Patreon, and where to buy my book. If you want to give those a click, that'd be great. If you don't want to give those a click, then that's fine. I'm just glad you watched. So thank you very much.